This week we're kind of split between two projects. We've got an old project we're trying to finish up, electric power steering and shoebox Ford, and we're trying to continue on with our MG. We did have to wait until we got some parts, so we've got a new fuel pump in, and I don't know, made in Germany. I guess that's good. At least it's not made in China. So I don't know what we got here. You know, a clamp of some kind, and let's see, a couple of screws and a pump. There you go. Pretty straightforward. You know, it's not an original SU. Kind of has the same characteristics as an SU. Kind of looks the same. Got positive and negative, and in and out, and bolts to the bulkhead. It looks like there's two threaded holes there. So the good thing, we'll have to get this on there and see how it's going to work, but the good thing about this pump is that supposedly, let's hope, it works with modern fuels, and that's important because today, with all the stuff they put in the fuel, ethanol and all the other stuff, older fuel system components don't like that. It doesn't treat them well. So, you know, we got to be able to drive this thing, so I think this will be okay. This ain't no showpiece. It ain't no piano, as they say. And I think it'll work fine for us. I just wanted to see, we've got our line here, and we got our in port, and it looks like our line will thread right on there. So what we're going to have to do is get this figured out exactly where this goes on the firewall, because some of the holes have been filled, and we'll just pick a spot as close as we can, drill a couple of holes, mount it, and then we can go ahead and bend this fuel line and get this fuel line run down the front of the firewall and down underneath the car, and hook it up to the fuel line that runs to the back of the car, and hook that to the fuel tank, and we'll be looking good. We got this new fuel pump, and getting ready to try to figure out where to put it, and it looks like we have a classic chicken or the egg situation, because we have the old pump. Let's just see, the bolt spacing is different, the old pump to the new pump, naturally. And some of these holes have been welded up, so there's no clear-cut place of where we want to put this pump. And for some reason, I don't know who the genius was that invented this, but the in port is over here and the out port is over here. Now, one would think it would have been easier to put the in port over here and go down that way, and the out port go that way, but that's not the way it is. So the other thing is, we've got this big copper line, and it's got to get a big U bend in it to come out of here, clear the coil, and go down around that way. So what do we do first? Drill a couple of holes and mount the pump, or bend the line and see where it's going to fit? I think what we'll do is bend the line first. And we got this double throw me down tubing bender. It always takes me a while to figure out how it works, but essentially you put the tubing in there and put that on there and make a nice radius. So we'll see if we can manage to mangle up a piece of tubing. We got a couple of bends in here, and I can see already that my super duper double throw me down tubing bender has managed to sort of flatten the tubing instead of bending it. Even in this slight radius here, it wants to make a flat area. I'm going to have to see if I can work that out of there a little bit, but that's about all we're going to get out of that. I would have hoped to bend that a little more than 90 there, but yeah, that ain't going to work without killing the tubing, squashing it shut. So right now we're a borderline, but I think we can get the line in there and get our pump mounted and get on down to the bottom. We'll see. So I think this is going to be pretty close. We'll be able to bring our other line over. We're waiting on an elbow to connect them together. Really, this line's supposed to go back here, but I don't think that's going to happen. We're going to have to just route it out here like that. So we're going to go ahead and mark a spot here, really just about where there was already a hole. Missed the coil there, and get our pump mounted in, and then we're going to have to route this line down the front and down underneath the car. Okay, we got the fuel pump mounted, got the fuel line run, a couple of not so great bends here with our first tool. I didn't think this tool here did such a good job. I had another little tool that actually pretty simple, but worked a lot better in putting some smoother radiuses in the bend. But we go down the front of the firewall and down along the foot plate, and we get a P-clamp of some kind down here. Knock the camera around, why don't you? And all the way down through the bracket for the foot plate and the frame rail, and connect to the line going to the rears. Here we can see the fuel line coming down in, making a nice sweep along the frame rail, and actually it ends up the union inside that brace right there. I'm not real happy about that. Personally, I think this line's a little bit too long, but that's okay. We'll get it coupled to the line going to the rear. We're going to have to cut that line to the rear open anyway. It's got fittings soldered on both ends, so we're going to have to cut it open anyway and put a pretty serious fuel filter in there. Just to, I'm sure we're going to have some debris out of our fuel tank, and we want to trap that before it gets to the pump. That's the fuel pump and the primary fuel line routed. We're still waiting for a 90-degree fitting for the outlet side of the pump to the fuel line to the carbs, and when that comes with our ports order, we'll get that in.